How to Become a Millionaire by Imperium Audiobooks. Everyone dreams of wealth. We imagine what life would be like if money were no longer a constant concern. The freedom to choose how to spend our days, the ability to give our family the best, the power to say yes to opportunities instead of being chained by limitations. Yet for most, this vision remains distant, almost impossible, like a fantasy reserved only for the lucky few. But here is the reality: millionaires are not superhuman. They are not born with some rare advantage you don't have. The majority of today's millionaires are self-made. They began in ordinary circumstances, with ordinary resources, yet built extraordinary lives by making different choices, the kinds of choices that compound into financial freedom. What separates those who become wealthy from those who don't is not luck. And it's not even intelligence. It is a set of principles, a way of thinking, and above all a pattern of daily habits that gradually shift your entire trajectory in life. The good news: these habits can be learned, they can be practiced, and if you stay consistent, they can completely change your financial future. This audiobook is not about get-rich-quick fantasies, it's about reality. It's about the mindset shifts, the discipline, and the rules that quietly govern wealth creation. What you're about to hear has been tested by countless high achievers who started with nothing and went on to build fortunes. If you apply these lessons with focus and patience, you will position yourself on the same path. Chapter 1. The Millionaire Mindset. Before money appears in your bank account, it must first take root in your mind. Every millionaire you admire, whether they started from poverty or privilege, began by learning to think differently from the crowd. Wealth at its core is not only a financial status but a mental state. The habits of thought you carry shape the decisions you make, and those decisions ultimately shape your destiny. Most people misunderstand wealth. They see it as something out there controlled by the economy, governments, or luck. They believe the wealthy are simply fortunate, that they inherited money, struck gold in business, or stumbled onto the right opportunity. This belief is comforting because it lets people excuse themselves from responsibility. If success is random, then it's not my fault I don't have it. But this mindset is a trap. It keeps people stagnant, blaming external forces while ignoring the truth that their own thinking may be the biggest obstacle. Millionaires know better. They understand that money follows value, and value is created through choices, focus, and persistence. That's why their first investment is never in stocks, businesses, or real estate. Their first investment is in themselves. They cultivate the habits of thinking that allow them to recognize opportunity where others see risk, to act with courage where others hesitate, and to keep moving forward when others quit. Let's break this down further. 1. The scarcity versus abundance paradigm. Most people operate from a scarcity mindset. They believe there is never enough. Not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough success to go around. This belief leads to fear-driven choices. People hoard, they avoid risks, they envy others' success, and they live defensively. Ironically, this mindset keeps them poor. Millionaires, however, operate from abundance. They believe wealth is created, not distributed. They understand that money flows towards solutions, innovation, and value. Instead of asking, "Why me?" they ask, "Why not me?" Instead of envying others' success, they study it, learn from it, and use it as proof that wealth is possible. This abundance paradigm fuels boldness. It makes them willing to try, fail, and try again, because they see every attempt as a step toward growth. 2. Delayed gratification. The average person trades long-term wealth for short-term pleasure. They buy the latest gadget, upgrade their car before it's necessary, spend weekends burning cash on entertainment, and then complain about being broke. Millionaires think differently. They master delayed gratification. They are willing to sacrifice comfort today for freedom tomorrow. Think of it this way: Every dollar you spend can either buy consumption or buy an asset. Consumption disappears. Assets multiply. Millionaires consistently choose multiplication. Early on, this might mean saying no to expensive vacations, flashy clothes, or unnecessary luxuries. It feels hard at first, but over time, those small sacrifices compound into massive advantages. The millionaire mindset views money not as something to be spent, but as a tool to buy freedom. 3. Ownership over excuses. Millionaires do not waste time blaming the government, the economy, or their circumstances. They may acknowledge these forces, but they refuse to hand over control of their future to them. Instead, they adopt radical responsibility. If their finances are not where they want them to be, they look in the mirror. If they fail in business, they analyze, adapt, and try again. Contrast this with the average person. A job loss is blamed on a bad boss. A failed investment is blamed on bad luck. A missed opportunity is dismissed as impossible. This mindset guarantees stagnation. Millionaires reject excuses because they know excuses build walls while responsibility builds bridges. 4. The power of vision. Here is something critical. Millionaires think in pictures. They visualize their goals with extraordinary clarity. While most people vaguely wish for more money or a better life, millionaires define it. They see the house they want to live in, the exact amount they want in their accounts, the lifestyle they want to create. Then, they reverse engineer a path to get there. Neuroscience supports this. When you visualize a goal clearly and emotionally, your brain begins to filter opportunities differently. It notices possibilities aligned with that vision. Millionaires use vision like a compass. It doesn't mean they avoid failure. They fail often, but their vision keeps them moving forward while others drift aimlessly. 5. Persistence over perfection. If you study any millionaire's story, you'll see a pattern: persistence. They fail, adapt, and try again, over and over. They don't wait for perfect timing, perfect conditions, or perfect confidence. They act, knowing that clarity comes through action, not before it. The average person spends years waiting until they feel ready, until the economy improves, until things settle down. Millionaires understand that waiting is the enemy. Every delay compounds into lost years, lost opportunities, and lost wealth. They don't chase perfection. They chase progress. Now here's the truth. Adopting the millionaire mindset is not about flipping a switch overnight. It's about daily practice. You will catch yourself drifting into scarcity, craving instant gratification, or making excuses. That's normal. But the difference between winners and everyone else is that winners correct themselves quickly. They discipline their minds over and over until a new pattern is formed. This chapter is not about information alone. It's about transformation. To truly walk the path of wealth, you must begin training your thoughts today. Wealth will not come to you if your mind is still wired for poverty. But if you reprogram your thinking to believe in abundance, to master patience, to take ownership, to hold vision, and to persist through setbacks, you are already a millionaire in training. Chapter 2. Building the foundation of wealth. If the millionaire mindset is the soil, then your financial foundation is the seedbed. Mindset alone, while powerful, is not enough. You need structure, you need systems, and you need discipline. Think of building wealth as constructing a skyscraper. Without a deep and stable foundation, even the most beautiful design will eventually collapse. Many people dream of riches, but their financial lives rest on weak ground, mountains of debt, impulsive spending, and lack of discipline. No matter how much money flows in, it leaks out just as fast. Millionaires know better. They build strong foundations before reaching for skyscraper heights. They understand that every fortune, whether it's built in real estate, business, or investing, is secured by basic principles that protect and multiply wealth. If you want to rise to millionaire status, you must start by laying this groundwork. Control your cash flow. Here's the blunt truth. You cannot manage millions if you cannot manage hundreds. It doesn't matter how much you earn if you don't know where your money is going. Most people make the fatal mistake of increasing lifestyle expenses with every income jump. They earn more but spend more. Better cars, bigger homes, fancier gadgets, until they are trapped in what's called the income expense treadmill. Millionaires escape this trap by mastering cash flow. They track income, expenses and savings with military precision. They know exactly how much comes in, where it goes, and how much remains to be invested. To them, budgeting is not restrictive, it is liberating. A budget tells them how quickly they are buying freedom, not how much they are sacrificing. Practical step: start small. For 30 days, track every dollar you spend. At the end of the month, divide your expenses into 2 categories: consumption, things that vanish, like food, entertainment and shopping, and assets, things that multiply, like savings and investments. Aim to gradually increase the percentage going into assets. Kill consumer debt. Let's face it, debt is a wealth killer. Credit card balances, payday loans, car notes, these chains drag millions of people into financial slavery. If you owe more than you own, you're already working backward. Millionaires understand the difference between good debt that builds wealth, like a mortgage on a rental property, and bad debt that buys depreciating junk, like a financed TV. They avoid consumer debt like poison. Consider this example: a person carrying $10,000 in credit card debt at 20% interest is paying $2,000 a year just for the privilege of owing money. That's money that could have been invested, compounding into wealth. Instead, it's evaporating into someone else's pocket. Millionaires flip the script. They make interest work for them, not against them. Practical step: if you're drowning in debt, create a payoff plan. Tackle the smallest debt first for quick wins, or the highest interest debt first to save money long term. Whichever you choose, commit relentlessly until the chains are broken. You cannot sprint toward millions while dragging financial weights. Build an emergency buffer. Imagine this: you start a side business, and it finally begins to generate income. But then your car breaks down, or you face a medical bill. With no buffer, you're forced to dip into business funds or take on debt, and suddenly your momentum stalls. This is why millionaires always build a financial buffer, a safety net that protects progress from life's inevitable surprises. An emergency fund is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It gives you the confidence to take risks without the fear of collapse. Most financial experts recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in a liquid account. Millionaires often keep even more, not out of fear, but out of strategy. That cushion allows them to weather storms while others panic. Practical step: if you don't yet have savings, start with $1,000 as a quick emergency buffer. Then build steadily toward 3 to 6 months' worth. Every contribution is a brick in your financial fortress. Automate wealth habits. Millionaires don't rely on willpower alone. They build systems that make wealth automatic. If they decide to invest 20% of their income, they set up automatic transfers so the money moves into savings or investments before they even touch it. This prevents emotional spending and ensures consistency. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether you'll do it every morning. It's automatic. Millionaires treat wealth building the same way. They automate savings, automate debt payments, and automate investments. By turning discipline into habit, they free their mental energy for higher-level decisions. Practical step: set up one automatic transfer today. Even if it's just $50 per paycheck, let the system work for you. The amount matters less than the habit. Over time, these small deposits snowball into large sums. Protect before you multiply. Here's a principle many ignore: protection comes before multiplication. Millionaires insure their assets, safeguard their families, and plan for taxes. Why? Because wealth unprotected is wealth at risk. What's the point of building a fortune if a single medical emergency, lawsuit or poor tax decision wipes it out? This is why they invest in proper insurance, estate planning, and tax strategies. They know it's not glamorous, but it's vital. Think of protection as building a moat around your castle. The stronger your defenses, the more confidently you can grow. Real-life examples. Let's look at two individuals. John earns $80,000 a year, but spends $85,000 through loans and credit. He drives a flashy car, posts vacations on social media, but secretly drowns in debt. Sarah earns the same $80,000 but lives on $50,000. She tracks expenses, invests $20,000 yearly, and grows her assets. 10 years later, John is still broke despite raises, while Sarah has hundreds of thousands compounding toward millionaire status. This story repeats everywhere. The difference is not income, it's foundation. One is building a house on sand, the other on rock. Step-by-step wealth foundation blueprint. Track every dollar for 30 days. Awareness is power. Cut toxic debt aggressively. Treat every dollar of interest as theft from your future. Establish an emergency fund to protect momentum. Automate savings and investments, so discipline becomes effortless. Review protection strategies, insurance, wills and tax planning. Building wealth isn't about flashy shortcuts. It's about strong, steady foundations. Millionaires aren't magicians. They're master builders. They construct financial lives that can handle setbacks, weather storms and keep climbing higher. Remember this, a skyscraper doesn't impress because of its height. It impresses because of the invisible foundation that holds it steady. If you want to rise to millionaire status, start digging deep today. Chapter 3. Creating multiple streams of income. If building the foundation of wealth is about protecting and managing money, the next step is about multiplying it. Millionaires know that no single river feeds an ocean. Wealth is never built from just one stream. It requires many. One income source may sustain you, but multiple streams of income liberate you. Think of it this way. If your only source of income is a job, you are one decision, one layoff, or one economic downturn away from financial disaster. That's not security. That's dependence. Millionaires, on the other hand, spread their risk. They diversify their income like farmers planting different crops. If one fails, the others still provide. This is not optional. If you want to become a millionaire, you must learn the art of creating and managing multiple streams of income. The danger of single-source income. Let's start with a hard truth. Relying solely on a paycheck is financial quicksand. The moment you stop working, your income stops flowing. Even worse, your earning power is controlled by someone else, your boss, your company, or your industry. This is why so many hard-working people remain stuck. They sell their time for money, and they run out of both. Here's the shocking reality. Many millionaires never had the highest-paying jobs. What they had was vision. They built side hustles, invested in opportunities, and created assets that paid them while they slept. The power of passive income. One of the greatest distinctions between the wealthy and the struggling is the difference between active income and passive income. Active income is money you earn when you trade time for labor, your salary, hourly wage or freelance pay. Passive income is money that flows even when you're not actively working, royalties, rental income, dividends, automated businesses. Millionaires prioritize building passive streams because they understand a universal truth. Time is limited, but wealth can be unlimited. If your income stops when you stop working, you will always be capped. But if your money works for you, there are no limits. Categories of millionaire income. Most millionaires build their fortunes across multiple categories. Let's explore the major ones. 1. Earned income, active work. This is your starting point, your job, profession or trade. Millionaires don't despise active income. They maximize it. They see it as the fuel that funds their investments. The mistake is staying here forever. Use earned income as a stepping stone, not a destination. 2. Business income. Owning a business, even a small one, allows you to break free from the ceiling of wages. Millionaires often create businesses that solve problems, scale systems, and operate beyond their own time. The business becomes a machine that generates income far beyond what one person could earn. 3. Investment income. This is where your money reproduces itself. Stocks, bonds, index funds, real estate, and private ventures are common vehicles. Millionaires study investments not as gamblers, but as strategists. They know markets rise and fall, but consistent, disciplined investing builds exponential growth. 4. Real estate income. Real estate remains one of the most proven millionaire makers. Rental properties generate cash flow while appreciating over time. Unlike paper investments, real estate is tangible, often leveraging borrowed money, good debt to grow wealth. Millionaires use real estate as both a cash machine and a wealth preserver. 5. Royalty and intellectual property income. Books, music, software, patents, online courses. These assets keep paying long after the work is done. Every time a customer buys a book or downloads a program, income flows without new effort. Millionaires leverage creativity and knowledge into recurring cash. 6. Portfolio and dividend income. Investments that pay dividends or interest create consistent cash flow. Unlike speculation, these income streams require patience and discipline. Millionaires think in decades, not days, and reap rewards others never see. Case study: the power of diversification. Consider Lisa, a teacher earning $50,000 a year. 10 years ago, she decided to diversify. She started tutoring online for extra cash. She invested $200 a month into index funds. Later, she bought a duplex, living in one side and renting the other. She wrote an ebook on teaching strategies that now sells globally. Fast forward, Lisa's job still pays $50,000, but her tutoring brings $15,000 yearly. Her investments generate $12,000 in dividends. Her duplex nets $9,000 in rental profit. Her ebook royalties bring $4,000 annually. Combined, she now earns $90,000 from additional streams, nearly double her salary. Lisa is on track to millionaire status not by winning the lottery, but by planting multiple seeds. This is the millionaire blueprint in action. Start small, grow consistently, and diversify relentlessly, building your own streams, step by step. Let's break this down into a blueprint you can follow. Master your primary income first. Use your job or current work to fund your future. Increase skills, ask for raises, or start freelancing. Active income is the engine that funds everything else. Start a side hustle. Choose something low cost but scalable. It could be freelancing online, selling digital products, affiliate marketing, or starting a service-based business. The goal isn't perfection, it's momentum. Invest early, even small. Do not wait to have enough before investing. Start with $50 or $100 monthly into index funds or ETFs. The habit is more important than the amount. Compound growth turns tiny investments into fortunes. Explore real estate if possible. Enter the real estate market. Start small, maybe a house hack, where you rent out part of your home. Learn the ropes, then expand. Create digital assets. Your knowledge, skills, and creativity can become income streams. Write, record, teach, or design something that continues to sell once created. Reinvest and scale. As new streams generate income, don't blow it on lifestyle inflation. Reinvest into bigger opportunities, expanding streams until you reach financial independence. The millionaire's perspective. Notice something powerful. Millionaires don't ask, how can I make more money this month? They ask, what asset can I create today that will pay me for years? This mindset shift is crucial. Poor and middle-class people think in terms of immediate wages. Millionaires think in terms of long-term cash flow. Every decision is filtered through this question: will this activity produce more income streams, or only more expenses?
The myth of overnight success. Be careful not to fall for the illusion of get-rich-quick schemes. Building multiple streams of income takes time, patience, and discipline. But here's the secret. Small beginnings multiply faster than you expect. A blog earning $50 a month seems small, but scale it to 10 blogs or grow it with marketing, and it becomes $5,000. A single rental property feels modest, but 10 properties later, you have a real estate empire. Millionaires are not overnight sensations. They are farmers planting seeds, patiently nurturing them, and harvesting abundance over time, expanding beyond money. The freedom dividend. Here's the beauty of multiple streams. It's not just about money, it's about freedom. With diverse income, you're no longer shackled to one job or one industry. You gain the power to walk away from toxic environments, pursue passion projects, and live life on your terms. Wealth is not just measured in dollars, it's measured in choices, and choices are born from multiple streams of income. Practical action plan. Write down your current income streams. List at least 3 potential new streams that align with your skills and interests. Commit to launching one side income project within the next 90 days. Automate investments immediately, even if small. Revisit your income portfolio every quarter, adding and refining. Final thought. A millionaire's life is not built on luck, talent, or inheritance alone. It is built on diversification, discipline, and vision. Imagine standing beside a river with a single bucket. That's one income. Now imagine standing before a waterfall with multiple pipes, each flowing steadily into your reservoir. That's multiple streams. Which scenario will fill your fortune faster? The choice is yours. Plant seeds today, water them with consistency, and soon, like the millionaires before you, you will harvest streams that never run dry.
Chapter 4. The Millionaire's Discipline, Mastering Habits and Routines. The path to wealth is not paved with luck, shortcuts, or isolated bursts of effort. It is built brick by brick through discipline, structure, and the quiet power of daily habits. Millionaires are not defined by what they occasionally do, but by what they consistently do. Their fortunes are the result of small, repeated actions compounded over years. If you study those who achieve extraordinary financial success, you will see a pattern. It is not necessarily brilliance, connections, or raw talent that separates them. It is their ability to create winning routines and stick to them when others give up. While the average person seeks comfort, millionaires seek growth. While most people drift through their days reacting, millionaires design their days intentionally. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a form of self-respect. It is the bridge between your dreams and their reality. Why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It rises and falls with emotions, circumstances, and moods. If you rely solely on motivation, you'll never sustain long-term success. Millionaires know this. They don't depend on feeling like it. Instead, they rely on discipline, the muscle that allows them to act regardless of feelings. Think of discipline as a compass that keeps you pointed toward your goals even when the winds of distraction try to push you off course. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you moving when the excitement fades. Morning routines. Setting the tone for wealth. Most self-made millionaires guard their mornings with precision. They understand that the first hour of the day sets the rhythm for everything that follows. Instead of rushing, scrolling social media, or reacting to chaos, they use mornings to prime their minds and bodies for success. Common morning practices among high performers include exercise. Physical movement boosts energy, sharpens focus, and builds mental toughness. Visualization and goal review. Reconnecting with long-term goals creates clarity and drive. Reading or learning. Feeding the mind daily compounds into wisdom. Planning the day. Intentional scheduling prevents wasted time. Imagine 2 people. One wakes up late, rushes to work, and spends the first hour in stress and distraction. The other wakes early, exercises, reviews goals, and plans their day.
Multiply these routines over years, and the second person is destined for vastly different results. Millionaires don't leave mornings to chance. They treat them as sacred. The discipline of delayed gratification. One of the most powerful habits of millionaires is the ability to delay gratification. While the average person spends impulsively, millionaires invest strategically. They understand that every dollar wasted on impulse could have been a seed planted for future wealth. This doesn't mean they never enjoy life. It means they prioritize long-term rewards over short-term pleasures. They buy assets before luxuries. They invest before indulging. They ask, will this purchase bring me closer to wealth or pull me further from it? Consider the story of Marcus, a young professional who chose to drive a modest used car while his peers leased luxury vehicles. Instead of monthly car payments, he invested the difference in index funds. 10 years later, his investments had grown into 6 figures. His friends had nothing but memories of cars they no longer owned. This is millionaire discipline in action. Time discipline. The ultimate currency, money, is renewable. Time is not. Millionaires are ruthless about how they use time because they understand its true value. They avoid unnecessary meetings, limit distractions, and delegate tasks that don't move the needle. Here are a few strategies they practice. Prioritization, focusing on the vital few activities that yield the highest returns. Eliminating time wasters, reducing television, mindless scrolling and gossip. Batching tasks, grouping similar activities together for efficiency. Saying no, protecting time by declining low-value opportunities. The average person allows time to slip unnoticed, but millionaires treat every hour like an investment. They constantly ask, is this activity moving me closer to my vision or stealing from it? Habits of relentless learners. Another cornerstone of millionaire discipline is lifelong learning. Millionaires read voraciously, attend seminars, and surround themselves with mentors. They view learning not as a chore, but as the highest return investment possible. Research shows that 85% of self-made millionaires read at least 2 books a month. Topics range from personal development to finance, biographies of great leaders, psychology, and innovation. This constant intake of knowledge gives them an edge in decision-making, creativity, and opportunity recognition. Learning becomes a daily routine. Just as exercise strengthens the body, reading and reflection strengthen the mind. The discipline of consistency. The world rewards consistency, not intensity. Many people start strong but fizzle out after enthusiasm wanes. Millionaires know that small repeated actions beat sporadic bursts of effort. Investing a fixed amount monthly compounds into millions. Writing a page daily leads to a book. Making one sales call each day builds a client empire. It's not about massive leaps. It's about persistent steps. Millionaires aren't extraordinary because they do extraordinary things once. They're extraordinary because they do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. Mental discipline. Mastering thoughts and emotions. Money mastery begins with mind mastery. Millionaires discipline their inner world. They refuse to let fear, doubt, or negativity dictate decisions. While others panic in downturns, they stay calm, rational, and opportunistic. This doesn't mean they never feel fear. It means they act despite fear. They've trained themselves to respond with logic instead of emotion. They journal, meditate, or practice mindfulness to maintain clarity. The average person is a slave to emotions, buying high when excited, selling low when afraid. Millionaires discipline their minds to do the opposite. Health discipline. The hidden wealth factor. Wealth means little without health. Millionaires understand this and maintain habits that sustain their energy, focus, and longevity. Regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and adequate rest are not optional luxuries. They are success tools. Think of your body as the vehicle carrying you toward wealth. A neglected vehicle breaks down early. Millionaires treat their health as a non-negotiable investment because they know a sharp mind requires a strong body. Building your millionaire routine. Here's a practical framework to implement. Design your morning. Create a routine that fuels energy, focus and clarity. Schedule priorities first. Put high-value tasks at the start of your day. Invest in learning. Commit to at least 30 minutes daily of reading or skill development. Track your habits. Use journals or apps to measure consistency. Audit your time. Eliminate or reduce activities that add no value. Practice restraint. Delay gratification to prioritize long-term rewards. Guard your health. Treat exercise and rest as non-negotiable. Final thought: discipline is the silent force behind every millionaire. It is not glamorous, and it rarely feels exciting, but it is the compound interest of success. Every disciplined choice builds upon the last, creating momentum that becomes unstoppable. You don't need to be the smartest, the luckiest, or the most talented, but you do need to be consistent. You do need to create routines that align with your vision and stick to them when others quit. Discipline is freedom. It frees you from the chaos of impulse, the trap of procrastination, and the slavery of wasted time. It frees you to build wealth, create impact, and live life on your terms. The question is not whether discipline works. It always works. The question is whether you will embrace it, not as a burden, but as the golden path to your millionaire destiny.
Chapter 5. The Millionaire's Risk: Turning Fear into Fortune. If there is one word that makes the average person freeze, it is risk. Risk carries the possibility of loss, failure, embarrassment, or pain. Most people spend their lives avoiding it at all costs, choosing the illusion of safety over the uncertainty of opportunity. But here is a fundamental truth. Every fortune ever created was born from risk. Millionaires do not run from risk. They embrace it, yet they do not do so recklessly. They are not gamblers tossing coins into the air hoping for luck. They are calculated risk-takers who understand that risk is the price of reward. To them, risk is not something to fear but something to manage, to analyze, and to leverage. Let us dismantle the myth. Millionaires are not fearless. They feel fear just as intensely as anyone else. The difference lies in their response. Where the average person allows fear to paralyze action, millionaires allow fear to sharpen their focus. They ask, how do I control this risk? How do I minimize the downside while maximizing the upside? The illusion of safety. The greatest risk of all is playing it safe. Many cling to job security, keeping savings in low-interest accounts and avoiding any move that might disturb their comfort zone. They believe they are being wise, cautious, responsible. Yet over time, this false sense of security erodes wealth. Inflation eats away at stagnant savings. Companies lay off workers despite decades of loyalty. Entire industries vanish with technological shifts. Playing it safe is, in reality, the riskiest strategy of all. Millionaires understand this truth. They know that wealth lives on the other side of discomfort. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What if I never try?" Calculated risk versus reckless risk. Millionaires don't leap blindly. They calculate, they measure, they weigh the potential downside against the upside and prepare accordingly. Reckless risk: betting all your savings on a lottery ticket or plunging into a business you don't understand. Calculated risk: studying an industry, learning its patterns, starting small and scaling as knowledge and results grow. One destroys wealth, the other creates it. Take Sarah, for example. She dreamed of launching her own bakery but feared leaving her stable accounting job. Instead of quitting overnight, she tested recipes at home, sold them at farmers markets, and built a loyal customer base. Over time, she grew confident in her numbers and customer demand. Only then did she transition fully into her business. Today, she owns a chain of bakeries. That is calculated risk at work.
Millionaire's Risk Framework. How do millionaires approach risk in practical terms? They often follow a framework, Education first. They learn everything they can about the opportunity. They do not gamble blindly. Knowledge reduces uncertainty. Start small. They test with small bets before scaling up. This way, even if they fail, losses are manageable. Plan for the downside. They ask, what's the worst that could happen? Can I survive it? If yes, they move forward. Diversify. They spread risks across different ventures, industries, or asset classes, ensuring no single failure wipes them out. Act decisively. Once research is done, they commit. Hesitation kills opportunity. This framework transforms risk from a paralyzing monster into a manageable process. Risk and the growth mindset. Why do millionaires seem bolder than most? It is because of their mindset. They view failure not as proof of inadequacy, but as feedback. To them, risk carries lessons as valuable as rewards. If they fail, they learn. If they succeed, they win. Either way, they grow stronger. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before creating the light bulb. Each failure was a risk, each attempt a lesson. Today, his legacy lights the world. Millionaires carry this same resilience. They see risk as the tuition of success. The risk of inaction. Consider two individuals, one who avoids risk altogether, and one who embraces it strategically. The risk-averse person never invests, never starts a business, never steps into the unknown. Decades later, they find themselves with little to show beyond survival. Meanwhile, the one who took risks, even with failures along the way, accumulates skills, experience, permissions, connections, and eventually, wealth. The difference is not opportunity, both had it. The difference is courage. Not taking risks is itself a decision, and often the costliest one. Risk in investing. No discussion of risk would be complete without money. Millionaires know that investing is not gambling. It is about managing risk intelligently. They diversify portfolios, research markets, and think long-term. They accept volatility as the price of entry, and resist panic when markets swing. Where the average investor sells in fear, millionaires often buy. Warren Buffett famously said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." This counterintuitive approach requires courage, but it is precisely how great fortunes are built. Emotional mastery in risk is not only logical but emotional. Fear triggers the body's fight-or-flight response. It clouds judgment. Millionaires discipline their emotions through mental training. Some meditate, some journal, some rehearse worst-case scenarios until fear loses its power. By confronting fear directly, they reduce its ability to control them. They also reframe risk in empowering terms. Instead of saying, "I might lose everything," they say, "This is an opportunity to multiply my potential." That shift in language transforms paralyzing fear into motivating energy. Practical steps to take smarter risks. Define your tolerance. Understand how much you can afford to lose without devastation. Research deeply. Never invest in what you don't understand. Surround yourself with mentors. Learn from those who have taken similar risks successfully. Create safety nets. Maintain emergency funds or backup income streams to cushion potential setbacks. Take action. Don't let analysis paralysis steal your momentum. Once the data supports your decision, move forward boldly. The millionaire's view of opportunity. Where others see danger, millionaires often see possibility. Economic downturns. For many, they are chances to buy undervalued assets. Industry disruption. A chance to innovate. Personal setbacks. A chance to reinvent. They understand that risk is inseparable from reward. The greater the value, the greater the uncertainty. But they also know that fortune consistently rewards those who dare intelligent. Final thought: millionaires are not reckless gamblers. They are master. Millionaires are not reckless gamblers. They are master risk managers. They know that risk cannot be eliminated, only controlled. They know that inaction is often the most dangerous choice of all. You will never create wealth by clinging to safety. You will never change wealth by clinging to safety. You will never change your life by staying within the familiar. The millionaire's path is paved with risks taken, fears faced, and lessons learned. If you want to join them, you must shift your perspective. Stop asking, "What if it goes wrong?" and start asking, "What if it goes right?" and start asking, "What if it goes right?" Every fortune begins with a leap into the unknown.
The only question left is, will you step forward or stand still while opportunity passes you by?
Chapter 6. The Millionaires Network. Who you surround yourself with shapes your wealth. There is a saying often repeated in wealth circles: your network is your net worth. While it may sound like a cliché, it is one of the most accurate principles in wealth creation. Millionaires know that money does not flow in isolation. It flows through people. Opportunities are introduced by people. Partnerships are built with people. Ideas are refined by people. And reputations, both good and bad, are formed in the minds of others. If you want to know where your life is headed, look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Do they inspire growth, or do they pull you down? Do they challenge you to level up, or do they keep you stuck in mediocrity? Millionaires are deliberate about their associations. They choose carefully, because they know proximity is power. Why networks matter. The average person believes success is built alone, grinding in silence, proving themselves without help. Millionaires know better. They understand that collaboration multiplies results. One introduction can lead to a life-changing investment. One mentor can save years of trial and error. One partnership can create an empire. Think about Silicon Valley. Why do so many billion-dollar companies emerge from that one location? It is not just because of talent or resources. It is because of networks. Entrepreneurs, investors, engineers, and visionaries are clustered together, sharing ideas, challenging each other, and pooling resources. The environment itself creates momentum. Wealth accelerates in communities. Millionaires position themselves in the right circles so they can catch opportunities others miss. The power of proximity. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Millionaires take this literally. They know that behaviors, attitudes, and beliefs are contagious. Spend enough time around pessimists, and you will absorb their doubts. Spend enough time with ambitious thinkers, and you will absorb their drive. This is why millionaires carefully curate their inner circle. They seek mentors who have walked the path ahead. They surround themselves with peers who push them to do better. They distance themselves from energy drainers, complainers, and those satisfied with mediocrity. Proximity is more powerful than advice. You don't just hear ideas, you adopt them through osmosis. Being around disciplined, growth-oriented people elevates your standards without conscious effort. Mentorship. The shortcut to success. Millionaires rarely travel alone. They seek out mentors, individuals who have already achieved what they aspire to. Mentors provide more than guidance. They provide perspective. They can warn you of pitfalls you don't yet see, point you toward opportunities you would miss, and hold you accountable to higher standards. Think of mentorship as borrowed wisdom. Instead of learning every lesson through painful experience, you absorb decades of knowledge distilled into conversations. This shortcut is invaluable. Many millionaires credit their first big breakthrough to a mentor, whether it's a teacher, a business partner, or even a book that shaped their thinking. Mentorship is the bridge that turns ambition into achievement. Strategic networking. It's not just who you know. Some people misunderstand networking as collecting contacts, handing out business cards, or adding connections on social media. Millionaires know that networking is not about quantity but quality. One deep relationship can be worth more than 100 shallow ones. Strategic networking is about creating mutual value. Millionaires don't approach people with a "what can I take" mindset. They ask, "What can I give? How can I add value?" This generosity builds trust and opens doors naturally. When you create value for others, opportunities flow back to you. People want to work with those who contribute, not those who only consume. Building reputation. The invisible currency. Your reputation is your most valuable asset in any network. It precedes you, often before you enter the room. Millionaires protect their reputation fiercely because they know one careless action can close doors permanently. Integrity.
Reliability and generosity are non-negotiable. If you say you'll deliver, deliver. If you promise honesty, keep it. Word spreads quickly, and in the age of the internet, reputations are magnified. Opportunities are often passed quietly behind closed doors. If you are known as trustworthy, people recommend you when you're not even present. Your reputation works as an invisible salesman, opening opportunities you may never directly pursue. The circle upgrade. Millionaires regularly audit their circles. They ask, who am I spending time with? Do they inspire growth or reinforce stagnation? Sometimes, becoming wealthy means outgrowing certain relationships. This is not about arrogance but alignment. If your goals are to build financial freedom while your circle ridicules ambition, conflict will arise. Millionaires choose to align with those who share vision, hunger, and belief. This doesn't mean abandoning old friends or family, but it does mean setting boundaries. Protecting your energy and ambition requires surrounding yourself with people who pull you upward, not drag you downward. Networking in the digital age. Millionaires also leverage technology. Platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, and private mastermind groups connect ambitious minds across the globe. Instead of being limited to local environments, they create global networks. But again, the principle remains the same: quality over quantity. They don't spam inboxes with desperate requests. They build genuine connections, share insights, and provide value first. In time, these digital connections become powerful collaborations. Case study: the power of one connection. Consider the story of John, a young entrepreneur who dreamed of creating a software startup. For months he worked alone, struggling to raise capital and find direction. Then he attended a local business networking event. There he met an investor who not only funded his vision, but also introduced him to seasoned advisors. Within 3 years, John's company scaled to millions in revenue. One relationship changed everything. This is the leverage of networks. Practical steps to build a millionaire network. Seek mentors. Identify people who are where you want to be. Reach out respectfully. Ask insightful questions, and show appreciation for their time. Join masterminds or groups. Surround yourself with peers who challenge you to grow. Online or offline, these communities accelerate progress. Offer value first. Don't approach relationships as a taker. Share knowledge, connect others, or provide resources. Generosity creates trust. Protect your reputation. Guard your integrity as fiercely as your bank account. Deliver on promises. Audit your circle. Regularly evaluate who influences your mindset and results. Upgrade when necessary. Final thought: millionaires know they cannot build empires alone. They surround themselves with visionaries, mentors, and allies who elevate their thinking and open doors. Networks multiply opportunities. Relationships are the true currency of wealth. The question you must ask is, who am I walking with? If you walk with dreamers, doers, and builders, you will absorb their momentum. If you walk with doubters and complainers, you will absorb their limitations. Wealth is not just about what you know, but who you grow with. If you want to become a millionaire, start by building the Millionaires Network, a circle of influence that expands your vision, challenges your limits, and pulls you higher every single day.
Chapter 7. The Millionaire's Work Ethic: Outworking and Outlasting the Competition. When people look at millionaires, they often assume luck played the biggest role. They say, he was in the right place at the right time, or she just got lucky with that business idea. But luck without discipline fades quickly. The real differentiator is not talent, luck, or even intelligence. It is work ethic. Millionaires are not superhuman. They do not have more hours in a day than anyone else. What sets them apart is their relentless commitment to doing what others won't, for as long as it takes. They are willing to outwork, outlast, and outdiscipline the competition. If you peel back the curtain on any great fortune, you will almost always find a story of sustained effort. Early mornings, late nights, sacrifices, and years of persistence that most people never see. Work ethic, the great equalizer. We live in a world where many chase shortcuts. People want overnight success, hacks, or instant results. Millionaires know that while strategies and systems are important, nothing replaces consistent effort. Work ethic is the great equalizer. You may not be the smartest person in the room, the most connected, or the most talented, but you can always be the hardest worker. And in the long run, that consistency compounds into mastery. Consider sports legends. Michael Jordan didn't just rely on talent. He was notorious for staying after practice, shooting hundreds of extra shots while others had already gone home. Kobe Bryant famously woke up at 4 a.m. to train, long before anyone else arrived. Talent made them good, but work ethic made them great. Millionaires adopt the same principle in business and life. They grind when others rest. They persist when others quit. They are obsessed not just with winning once but with sustaining success. Discipline over motivation. The average person relies on motivation. They work hard when they feel like it, or when excitement is high. Millionaires rely on discipline. They know motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. Discipline, however, is stable. Discipline means doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It means keeping commitments to yourself when no one is watching. It means building habits that automate success. Think of brushing your teeth. You don't rely on motivation to do it. You don't ask yourself, do I feel inspired today? You simply do it because it is non-negotiable. Millionaires treat their success habits the same way. Work, learning, investing, health, they systemize them into daily non-negotiables. The sacrifice factor. Every success story has a hidden sacrifice. Millionaires give up temporary pleasures for long-term gains. While others binge-watch shows, they study markets. While others party every weekend, they attend seminars, build businesses, or expand their skills. Sacrifice is not punishment. It is trade-offs. Millionaires know that saying yes to wealth often means saying no to distraction. They ask themselves, is this choice moving me closer to or further from my goal? If it doesn't align, they cut it out. Sacrifice now leads to freedom later. The average person seeks freedom in the moment. Pleasure, leisure, indulgence. Millionaires seek freedom in the future. Financial independence, time autonomy, legacy, outlasting the competition. One of the least appreciated millionaire habits is endurance. Many people can work hard for a week, a month, or even a year. Few can sustain relentless focus for 5, 10, or 20 years. That is where millionaires win. Consider Warren Buffett. His wealth did not explode overnight. It compounded over decades because he stayed in the game longer than almost anyone else. While others quit, switched paths, or got distracted, Buffett remained consistent. Millionaires adopt a marathon mindset. They do not expect quick wins. They are patient builders. They embrace the grind, knowing that persistence is more valuable than intensity. Anyone can sprint, but few can endure the marathon. The daily grind, what it actually looks like. So what does millionaire-level work ethic look like in practice? Early mornings and structure. Millionaires often wake early, not because waking up at 5 a.m. is magic, but because it creates space for uninterrupted focus. The first hours of the day set the tone. Deep work blocks. They prioritize focused work without distractions. While others multitask, millionaires dive deep into one task, finishing it with excellence. Continuous learning. They dedicate time daily to growth, reading, studying, learning new skills. A sharper mind creates sharper results. Execution, over excuses. While many complain about conditions, millionaires act. They focus on what they can do rather than what they can't. Review and adjust. They track progress, reflect, and make adjustments. Work ethic is not just about brute force. It's about intelligent persistence.
The myth of balance. Millionaires know that balance is often a myth, at least in the early stages. Building wealth requires seasons of imbalance, intense focus, long hours, and single-minded dedication. This doesn't mean ignoring health or family forever, but it does mean prioritizing what matters most in a given season. Most people fail because they want balance and breakthrough at the same time. Millionaires accept temporary imbalance for permanent freedom later. Case study: the relentless builder. Take Elon Musk. Love him or hate him, his work ethic is undeniable. At the height of building Tesla and SpaceX, Musk reportedly worked 8,100-hour weeks. He slept on factory floors, reviewed designs at 3 a.m., and pushed his teams beyond what seemed humanly possible. Was it extreme? Yes, but that intensity allowed him to build companies that disrupted entire industries. While others doubted and delayed, Musk's work ethic outpaced his competition. Energy management. Working smarter, not just harder. Millionaires understand that work ethic is not just about raw hours. It's about managing energy. They invest in health, fitness and recovery, because peak performance requires a strong body and mind. They know a sharp hour of deep focus is worth more than 10 distracted hours. Thus they work hard and smart. They optimize routines, delegate tasks and focus on their unique strengths. Building your millionaire work ethic. Define non-negotiables. Decide what habits you will execute daily no matter what. Schedule relentlessly. Treat your time like money. Budget it with intention. Sacrifice strategically. Identify distractions and cut them out. Protect your focus. Track progress. Measure effort and results. What gets tracked improves. Commit to endurance. Think in decades, not days. Play the long game. Final thought: millionaires are not made by chance. They are forged in the furnace of discipline, sacrifice and relentless work. They outwork not just in terms of hours but in terms of consistency. They do not stop when tired. They stop when finished. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. Most people fail because they quit too soon, work too little, or give in to distractions. Millionaires succeed because they persist longer, work smarter, and commit deeper. Success is not about flashes of effort. It is about sustained work ethic, day after day, year after year. That is the secret weapon that separates dreamers from doers, talkers from achievers, and the broke from the wealthy. If you want to become a millionaire, remember, talent may open the first door, but discipline keeps you inside the house of success.
Chapter 8. Money multiplication. Turning income into wealth through smart investments. Making money is only the first step. The true art of wealth lies not in earning but in multiplying. Many people work hard their entire lives, earn decent salaries, and yet retire with little to show for it. Why? Because they confuse high income with wealth. Millionaires understand a different rule. Income alone won't make you rich. What you do with that income determines everything. It's not about how much money comes in. It's about how much money grows after it enters your hands. This is the fundamental difference between workers and wealth builders. Workers exchange time for money and then spend it. Wealth builders use money to acquire assets that generate more money over and over again. This is the millionaire's formula. Earn, invest, multiply, repeat. The principle of leverage money has a unique property. When used wisely, it works harder than any human ever could. Millionaires see money as employees. Every dollar has a job. If those dollars are put to work through smart investments, they reproduce and bring back more dollars. The average person spends $1 on consumption, clothes, gadgets, entertainment. That dollar dies the moment it's spent. The millionaire invests the same dollar, and it goes out into the world to recruit more dollars. Over time, this army of dollars becomes unstoppable. Think about this. While you sleep, money invested in real estate collects rent. Money invested in stocks earns dividends. Money invested in businesses creates cash flow. Millionaires multiply wealth because their money never rests. The mindset shift. from consumer to investor. The first step in money multiplication is shifting identity. Most people identify as consumers. They ask, what can I buy with this? Millionaires identify as investors. They ask, how can I grow this? This simple shift changes everything. Suddenly $1,000 isn't a new phone. It's an opportunity to acquire dividend stocks that could pay you yearly for decades. $10,000 isn't a car upgrade. It's the seed capital for an online business. Consumption is short-lived satisfaction. Investment is long-term freedom. Millionaires choose freedom every time. The vehicles of multiplication. So how exactly do millionaires multiply their income? They use proven vehicles that combine discipline with strategy. Here are the most common. Real estate. Property is a timeless wealth builder. Rent creates steady cash flow, while property values often rise over decades. Millionaires use leverage, other people's money, bank loans, to acquire assets that pay for themselves. Stocks and equities. The stock market is a machine of compounding wealth. By owning shares of companies, millionaires benefit from dividends, capital appreciation, and the unstoppable growth of global commerce. Business ownership. Many millionaires invest not in passive vehicles but in their own or others' businesses. A successful business can multiply money faster than any other asset, though it requires more risk and involvement. Bonds and index funds. While less aggressive, these provide steady, predictable returns. Millionaires often use them to preserve wealth rather than build it aggressively. Alternative assets. Cryptocurrencies, gold, art and private equity are used strategically to diversify portfolios and protect against market volatility. The law of compounding. Albert Einstein once called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. Millionaires live by it. Compounding means your money earns money, and then that new money also earns money, creating exponential growth. Imagine investing $10,000 at a 10% annual return. After 1 year you have $11,000. After 10 years it's $25,937. After 20 years it's $67,275. And after 30 years it's $174,494, without adding a single extra dollar. Now imagine you keep adding new money to that system. This is why millionaires prioritize investing early and often. They know time is the most powerful multiplier. Risk versus recklessness. Millionaires are not reckless gamblers. They take calculated risks, not blind leaps. They study opportunities, understand downside protection, and never invest blindly in trends. The average person avoids risk entirely, leaving their money in savings accounts that barely beat inflation. Another group embraces too much risk, chasing hype, gambling on penny stocks, or betting everything on crypto. Both extremes lead to failure. Millionaires operate in the middle. They take smart risks with research, diversification, and long-term perspective. They understand that risk cannot be avoided, but it can be managed. Multiple streams of income. One of the most powerful multiplication strategies is building multiple income streams. Millionaires rarely rely on just one source of money. Instead, they diversify into different flows that provide resilience and growth. A millionaire might earn active income from a business, passive income from rental properties, dividends from stocks, royalties from intellectual property, and interest from bonds. If one stream slows, the others keep flowing. Compare this to the average worker with only one income stream, their paycheck. If they lose that job, everything collapses. Millionaires build financial ecosystems where money flows from many directions. The rule of reinvestment. Here's a critical truth. Millionaires do not immediately consume their profits. Instead, they reinvest them. This is where true multiplication happens. Take a business owner who makes $100,000 profit. Instead of buying luxury cars, they reinvest in marketing, staff, or expansion. That reinvestment doubles profits the next year, which are reinvested again, leading to exponential growth.
The average person consumes profits, treating income as a reward. Millionaires treat income as fuel. They reinvest until the engine of wealth becomes unstoppable. Case study: from ordinary to extraordinary. Consider Sarah, a school teacher who earned $40,000 a year. Instead of spending, she lived below her means, saved aggressively, and invested in rental properties. Within 15 years she owned 12 rental units, each producing steady cash flow. She still worked as a teacher, but her investments brought in more than her salary. Sarah wasn't born rich, but she became wealthy by applying the Millionaire formula: earn, invest, multiply, repeat. The story is real, and it shows that the formula works for anyone willing to apply discipline and patience. Building your own multiplication plan. Here's how you can start. Pay yourself first before spending. Allocate a portion of every dollar to investments. Make it automatic. Educate yourself. Read, study, and learn about different asset classes. Millionaires invest in knowledge first. Start small. You don't need millions to invest. Even small amounts consistently invested compound massively. Diversify. Don't put all eggs in one basket. Balance growth assets with stability assets. Think long-term. Wealth is not built in months. It's built in years and decades. Final thought: millionaires are not just money makers. They are money multipliers. They understand that wealth is not created by working harder, but by putting money to work smarter. Most people spend their entire lives trading time for money. Millionaires build systems where money trades for more money. This is the freedom formula. If you want to become a millionaire, never let money sit idle. Every dollar should have a mission. Every profit should be reinvested. Every investment should compound. Remember, this: income feeds your lifestyle, but investments create your future. Income pays the bills, but multiplied money buys freedom.
Chapter 9. The Power of Networks. Leveraging relationships for wealth and growth. Money is powerful, but relationships are priceless. If there is one truth every self-made millionaire agrees upon, it is this: wealth is rarely built in isolation. Opportunities, ideas, partnerships, and resources almost always flow through people. Millionaires understand that their net worth is deeply connected to their network. The average person may think of networking as exchanging business cards or adding strangers on LinkedIn. Millionaires know it is far deeper. Networking is not about collecting contacts. It's about cultivating meaningful, value-driven relationships that open doors no amount of money could buy. In this chapter, we explore how high achievers build, nurture, and leverage networks that accelerate wealth creation and personal growth. Why networks matter. A strong network provides access to opportunities that would otherwise be invisible. Think about it. Jobs are often filled before they are advertised. Investment opportunities are often shared within closed circles. Partnerships are born from conversations, not cold emails. When you surround yourself with high achievers, you naturally encounter ideas, deals, and possibilities you'd never find alone. One introduction can lead to $1 million business. One mentor can cut years off your learning curve. One partnership can multiply your impact. Millionaires build networks intentionally. They treat people as the most valuable assets in their wealth portfolio. The law of proximity. There's a simple rule: you become like the people you spend the most time with. If your circle spends their weekends drinking and complaining about life, you will eventually do the same. If your circle discusses business, investments, and self-improvement, your thinking will rise to match theirs. Millionaires are ruthless about proximity. They deliberately place themselves in environments where ambition, creativity, and success are normal. They know environment shapes destiny. If you want to think and act like a millionaire, ask yourself, who am I spending my time with? Do they inspire me to grow, or do they drag me back into mediocrity? Building a millionaire network. So how do you create a network that fuels wealth? It's not about chasing celebrities or trying to use people. True networking is built on authenticity, value, and consistency. Here are the pillars. Give before you ask. Most people approach networking with a "what can I get" attitude. Millionaires flip it. What can I give? Value can be knowledge, introductions, skills, or even encouragement. By giving first, you build trust and goodwill, the foundation of lasting connections. Play the long game. Relationships are not built overnight. Millionaires understand the compounding power of trust. They check in, follow up, and show genuine interest, even when there's no immediate return. Be strategic about where you show up. Millionaires attend industry events, mastermind groups, conferences, and social circles where ambitious people gather. They invest time and money to be in the right rooms because they know one connection can change everything. Surround yourself with mentors and peers. Millionaires balance their networks with mentors, people ahead of them, and peers, people walking the same path. Mentors pull them up, while peers push them forward. The power of mentorship. Behind every successful millionaire is a mentor, sometimes several. A mentor is someone who has already walked the path and can help you avoid costly mistakes. They provide clarity, wisdom, and shortcuts that no book or YouTube video can replace. But mentors don't appear by magic. Millionaires seek them out intentionally, often by providing value first. They volunteer, assist, or contribute before ever asking for guidance. This creates reciprocity and shows respect for the mentor's time. The average person tries to pick someone's brain. Millionaires build relationships of mutual value. That's why mentors invest in them. Social capital. Think of your network as social capital, an invisible currency that often matters more than money itself. A single introduction from the right person can unlock funding, partnerships, or distribution that millions in cash couldn't buy. Consider this. Many startups fail, not because the idea was bad, but because they lacked the right connections to raise money, reach customers, or scale. In contrast, a startup backed by a strong network often thrives, even if the product isn't revolutionary. The network multiplies the odds of success. Millionaires constantly expand and protect their social capital. They guard their reputation fiercely, knowing that trust is the most valuable currency in any relationship. Networking in the digital age. Technology has changed the game. Social media allows you to connect with thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and investors globally. But here's the difference. Millionaires don't just consume online, they contribute. They share insights, post valuable content, and engage meaningfully. This builds digital authority and attracts opportunities. They use platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, and niche communities, not to show off, but to serve and connect. The average person scrolls. Millionaires leverage, avoiding toxic relationships. Building a powerful network also means pruning toxic connections. Millionaires cut ties with people who drain energy, spread negativity, or resist growth. They understand that time and attention are limited, and every toxic relationship is a tax on future wealth. This doesn't mean being cold or ruthless. It means choosing wisely who earns proximity to your energy and vision. If someone constantly pulls you down, you cannot rise. Case study. The power of one connection. Consider Mark, a small business owner struggling to grow. At a networking event, he met an experienced entrepreneur who became a mentor. This mentor introduced Mark to investors, who funded his expansion. Through that expansion, Mark connected with suppliers who offered better pricing, increasing his margins. One connection created a chain reaction that turned his struggling business into a thriving empire. This is how networks multiply wealth. Action steps to build your millionaire network. Audit your circle. Write down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Do they challenge you to grow or keep you small? Adjust accordingly. Add value daily. Reach out to someone in your network each day with value, a useful article, an introduction, or encouragement. Invest in proximity. Attend at least one event, mastermind, or group where ambitious people gather. Pay for the ticket. It's an investment, not an expense. Nurture relationships. Follow up regularly.
A quick message, a coffee chat, or a call keeps relationships alive. Protect your reputation. Never burn bridges unnecessarily. Trust compounds, but so does distrust. Final thought: millionaires understand that wealth is a team sport. No one wins alone. They invest not only in stocks, real estate and businesses, but also in people. They give value freely, surround themselves with winners, and intentionally place themselves in rooms where opportunity circulates. If you want to accelerate your journey to wealth, don't just chase money, build relationships. Because when you are surrounded by the right people, doors will open that money alone could never unlock. Your next $1 million idea, deal, or opportunity might not come from your effort, but from your network. The question is, are you building it intentionally?
Chapter 10. The Millionaire's Legacy. Building wealth that lasts beyond you. What does it truly mean to be a millionaire? Is it just the number sitting in your bank account? Is it the size of your house, the cars in your garage, or the lifestyle you can afford? The truth is, being a millionaire is not only about accumulation, it is about creation, contribution, and continuation. The wealthiest people on earth know that money alone will not secure their place in history. What secures their legacy is how they use that wealth, the systems they build, the lives they touch, and the future they create for generations that follow. In this final chapter, we explore how millionaires think beyond themselves. They don't just focus on short-term riches, they design lasting wealth that endures beyond their lifetime. The difference between rich and wealthy. There's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. Rich people can buy luxury cars, designer clothes, and expensive vacations. But once the money is gone, so is their lifestyle. Wealthy people build systems that keep producing money whether they are awake, asleep, or long gone. Wealth is ownership. Wealth is assets. Wealth is generational. Millionaires who truly master wealth creation don't measure their success by what they can spend today, but by what will still exist tomorrow. The desire to leave a legacy. At some point, money stops being about survival, or even luxury. Once your needs are met, and your desires satisfied, the question becomes, what will my life mean? What will I leave behind? Millionaires understand that the truest measure of success is impact. They want their children, their families, their communities, and even the world to benefit from the fruits of their labor. Their legacy becomes a driving force behind their ambition. Some leave foundations. Some create schools or scholarships. Some pass down businesses, systems and assets that continue to grow long after they're gone. The common thread is this: they think beyond themselves. The 4 dimensions of legacy. Millionaires don't see legacy as just money. True legacy exists in 4 dimensions: financial legacy, assets, businesses, investments, trusts and funds that secure financial stability for future generations; intellectual legacy, knowledge, lessons, principles and systems passed down through mentorship, writing, teaching, or example; relational legacy, families united by values, culture and traditions that outlive the wealth itself; impact legacy, contributions to society, communities and causes that continue making the world better. A fortune without values disappears in a generation, but wealth combined with wisdom and impact can last for centuries. Building generational wealth. Millionaires who create generational wealth understand that simply leaving money is not enough. Without financial literacy and values, money can destroy families instead of lifting them. That's why they focus on 3 key strategies. Systems, not just sums. Instead of leaving piles of money, they leave structures, trusts, investment portfolios, businesses and real estate that keep generating income. Education before inheritance. They teach their children how to handle money before handing them money. Many involve their kids in business discussions, expose them to mentors, and pass down principles of discipline and responsibility. Values over valuables. Millionaires emphasize the importance of character,
purpose, and contribution. They know money without meaning is wasted. The ripple effect of contribution. One of the greatest secrets of wealth is this: the more you give, the more you grow. Millionaires understand the law of contribution, that wealth flows to those who channel it for greater good. Think about Andrew Carnegie, who built libraries across America, or Bill Gates, who funds global health initiatives, or countless entrepreneurs who sponsor education and provide resources for those in need. Their wealth is not remembered by the mansions they lived in, but by the millions of lives they touched. Contribution multiplies legacy. A dollar spent on luxury is gone forever. A dollar invested in people can echo for generations. Avoiding the curse of wealth. History is full of wealthy families that lost everything within 2 generations. Why? Because they failed to transfer not just assets but wisdom. Millionaires who last understand that protecting their legacy requires more than wealth creation. It requires wealth preservation. They surround themselves with advisors, use legal structures, and most importantly, instill financial discipline in their heirs. They avoid the curse of wealth by passing on principles, not just possessions. Designing your legacy. The average person rarely thinks about legacy. They focus only on today's bills and pleasures. Millionaires, however, live with the long view. They ask, how will my money work when I'm gone? What lessons will my children remember about me? What will my name stand for 100 years from now? Designing a legacy doesn't mean you need billions. Even with modest wealth, you can pass down values, wisdom, and impact that change your family's trajectory forever. The millionaire's final mindset. Here's the truth. Money is temporary, but legacy is eternal. Millionaires don't just build wealth for themselves. They become architects of futures they may never see. They understand that true wealth is not what you keep, but what you create for others. Your journey to becoming a millionaire is not only about numbers. It is about stepping into a mindset of abundance, vision, and responsibility. It is about recognizing that your life is not measured only in dollars, but in the difference you make. Action steps to begin building your legacy. Clarify your values. Write down the principles you want your family and future generations to carry. Build lasting assets. Focus on assets that endure. Real estate, businesses, intellectual property, and investment portfolios. Educate your circle. Teach financial literacy to your children, family, or community. Knowledge is the best inheritance. Create a contribution plan. Decide how you will give back, whether through charity, mentorship, or community projects. Protect with structures. Set up trusts, wills, and legal frameworks to ensure your wealth is preserved and distributed with wisdom. Final thought. Millionaires are not remembered for their bank accounts. They are remembered for the lives they changed, the values they instilled, and the futures they created. When you begin to build wealth, remember this: money is only a tool. The real question is, what will you use it to build? Will your wealth end with you, or will it echo across generations?
You've just walked through the principles, the mindset, the strategies, and the habits that separate ordinary lives from extraordinary wealth. From rewiring your thoughts, mastering discipline, building resilient habits, and understanding money at its deepest levels, all the way to designing a legacy that outlives you, the path is now clear. But here's the truth. Knowledge without action is worthless. Too many people consume books, podcasts, and seminars, but never take the step that transforms information into transformation. The difference between those who dream and those who succeed is simple: action. The road to becoming a millionaire does not demand perfection. It demands progress. Small, consistent steps compound into massive results. Every choice you make, to save instead of spend, to learn instead of waste time, to build instead of consume, moves you closer to freedom. Remember, millionaires are not born. They are built. Built through vision, discipline, courage, and persistence. Every one of them started where you are right now, with a decision. So today, make the decision. Decide that you will no longer live by chance, but by choice. Decide that your future will not be determined by excuses but by execution. Decide that your story will not be one of regret, but one of victory. Your journey is not about money alone. It's about freedom, fulfillment, and impact. Money simply becomes the tool that unlocks the life you are destined to live. So rise, step forward. Begin today. Build your wealth, shape your mindset, and create your legacy. Don't just listen to these words. Live them. The millionaire within you is waiting. The only question left is, when will you claim it? If this audiobook inspired you, don't stop here. Revisit the chapters. Take notes. Implement one strategy today, then another tomorrow. Share these lessons with someone you care about. And most importantly, commit to daily progress. Millionaire success isn't reserved for special people. It's available to anyone willing to focus, fight, and follow through. That includes you. Now go. The world is waiting for your success story.